Prime Minister, nothing sinister, believe that. Open mic, it's word solid power. You don't call this a rap. Open mind, open mic. You don't call this rap. Yo, what up, Aisha? You don't call this a rap. What up, Black? It's Prime Minister in black.
Strange things are happening, strange things are happening, strange things are happening, strange things are happening.
I make the leaning tower tip a little when I spit a little with no dribble. Mind controlling the masses, not on the roof with the fiddle. Devils acting nice, get their horns in the vice. Black past the chisel, cut you down to your bone gristle. Bombing huts with missiles, a stray bullet still whistle from dead men's pistols. If roots don't got it, get down, let's go check Colonel and giggles. Fuck the fake chalice bong and backwards my weed sizzle. White perverts make African entertainers show breasts but no nipples. If lies trickle like Chinese torture, your mind stay crippled. In a state of no growth, you mind sickle. Cloning, organ snatchers, got your parts in ice or pickled. Pussies do nothing, watching black girls on the bus get nickled. Nas got camera, now Cameron got your pink tickled. Sambo entertainers exiting big whips, don't get your mink riddled. Fags bite the curb and the teeth come in bits like kibbles. Reptilians get caught up when we move nets like kiddles. Sellouts major in doing nothing for their own Dr. Doolittle. I burn rainbow fake food flavor like Nips and Skittles.
Strange things are happening, strange things are happening, strange things are happening, strange things are happening.
The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. Prime the holy assaultant, running through devil's rituals. I'm burning rainbow flags and tipping cauldrons. See demons running and tripping, trying to seduce me with spells through vixens. To make me lose third eye vision, put out my ether, try to dull my non-shine. See the X on my chest, shows that the beast is suppressed. Prime time is blessed by Ra's energy, giving me guidance through my descendants. Watch for hype soaks, try to raid my entrance. Worshiping the golden calf, like golden Jesus heads and platinum crosses with ice. And they thinking they're nice, but judgment is twice. The truth is, you more lost than the ark. It's time to mentally wake up out of those ages that's dark. The revolution we here to kickstart, re-spark the black renaissance. The past and the future have a resemblance to how it was in the beginning, it would be in the end. Elohim created man that slept with the daughters of men from the Caucasus caves. Sexually, the gods didn't use cautious ways. Tricked knowledge and kidnapping made them nauseous slaves. Looking for Zion, but they lost their way. Heaven is in the mind of the lioness and lion. Looking for a savior who's God's right-hand man. And all their preachers, the right-hand man. Where will you stand when you get to heaven? The lazy man's world, according to you, God has things to do. And no time to sit behind a golden gate waiting for you to come. Your God deserted his son. Let Samson fall asleep and let the enemy come and cut his source of life short. If you're hating, you're not relating. The truth is, I'm a rebel. And through your lies, I see your God as the devil. Put the tree of temptation in the garden, but said don't touch it. Religion got Muslims dressed in winter like they're heading to the Mecca summit. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. Prime the holy assaultant, running through devil's rituals. I'm burning rainbow flags and tipping cauldrons. See demons running and tripping, trying to seduce me with spells through vixens. To make me lose third eye vision, put out my ether, try to dull my non-shine. See the X on my chest shows that the beast is suppressed. Prime time is blessed by Rise energy, giving me guidance through my descendants. Watch for hype soaks try to raid my entrance. Worshipping the golden calf like golden Jesus heads and platinum crosses with ice, and they thinking they're nice, but judgment is twice. The truth is, you more lost than the ark. It's time to mentally wake up out of those ages that's dark. The revolution we here to kickstart, re-spark the black renaissance. The past and the future have a resemblance to how it was in the beginning, it would be in the end. Elohim created man that slept with the daughters of men from the Caucasus caves. Sexually, the gods didn't use cautious ways. Trick knowledge and kidnapping made them nauseous slaves. Looking for Zion, but they lost their way. Heaven is in the mind of the lioness and lion. Looking for a savior who's God's right-hand man. And all they preachers, the right-hand man. Where will you stand when you get to heaven? That lazy man's world. According to you, God has things to do. And no time to sit behind a golden gate waiting for you to come. Your God deserted his son. Let Samson fall asleep and let the enemy come and cut his source of life short. If you're hating, you're not relating. The truth is, I'm a rebel. And through your lies, I see your God as the devil. Put the tree of temptation in the garden, but said don't touch it. Religion got Muslims dressed in winter like they're heading to the Mecca summit. Yo, y'all not freezing. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. The truth is, they got your minds and nooses. Telling me I'm 3/5 of a human being, you must be stupid. Love got nothing to do with Cupid. Why now do they want truces? We want the stolen legacy back. I say what they don't want me to. Thanks to my ancestor spirits, when I get close to the knowledge, I feel it. Cause if I show it, we might blow it. Cause Mr. Oreo Negro invaded something to get with those people who try to stop the life clock, but never knew about the most I chosen few. They took the red, white, and blue and perverted it for sex in the church. The female faith they skirted it with the veil and hailed the high priest from Egypt. I hate blacks that act like they don't see shit. Attitudes of ignorance, millennium maroons, the first victims of the guns and booze. From the first time they came and raping, they took our gold. Now they want to take your mind and soul. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you spar with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. They made Africa the auction block to crusades. They say they bring a knowledge, all I see them bringing is power. Farrakhan got his million man marching on the same block. They had us as slaves for auctions. So I saw them for those others' actions. They just become distractions to my aura. I speak and never boil with the floor. If you on vibes with Satan's spies, I'm not trying to step on toes, I'm stepping on ties and blows make heads crack. Devils screaming my neck, my back, waving their white flag, but we show none. Rappers turning actors, all they need in sermons. I flow and give your brain a purging if you're not learning. The knowledge is power. I drop an hour of knowledge in 3 minutes. For me, that's a scrimmage. I'm too high to see limits. Staring at Rob replace my carrots. I don't smile, watch face, or beg friends from faggots, cause opposites attract. Lights repel, sitting waiting for emancipation, Israelites rebel. Cause if you don't have the mark, you can't buy yourself. Let them fool you, it's dark and cold in hell. Here comes the scar disciple, verbal rifle. My flow sawed off, all your saliva, your stifle. Choked up, cause I spoke up, I've been woke up from the sleep in this matrix. You're searching for Zion while your heaven gate shapeshift. Devil's elves got the God's irons off the shelves. With blacks only bucking at blacks. You know you bucking yourselves. When will it stop? Put down the gun, leave the Babylonian ways. Killing your brothers, acting like Cain. Doing things not backed by scriptures. Falling on your face to pray and celebrating Christmas. Wearing all types of ropes and symbols. Kissing black stones. Worshipping the wailing wall like imbeciles. Facing east to pray while the source is all around us. It tells you not to eat pork in the 7th verse of Leviticus. Christ is Christus. To your mind, I see they so vicious. Blacks, to your mind, I see they so vicious. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you part with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. The truth is, if you're hating, you're not relating. We part with the Most High, see you part with Satan. The truth is, if you're hating, you're probably lost. Get on and stop flying off course. Probably lost. You want to stop flying off course. Piano player, I got something to say. Black people, you gotta get your mind up, right? Ease, stress, strain with a stock of sense. They say I'm crazy, but I'm fully sane. Ease, stress, strain. Yo, they say I'm crazy, but I'm fully sane. Ease, stress, strain with a stock of sense. Runners for the presidency, snort cocaine. So much hurt, but I feel no pain. For so long in physical, now we deal with mental chains. I brag, I'm not into gimmicks and fads. Most clothes they want me to pay for has been designed by fags. My riches are my rag. They will bring back the drab. Ban hench, but not cloning. I hope you see where this is going. I'm not showing for telling, I'm showing to tap pioneers and start the rebellion. Are you not tired of seeing our people get killed for nothing? Black so-called leaders talk big, but they do nothing. The talk is cheap, while actions speak. Proof that non-violence creates silence and built up anger that's let out on your own family and your house. Got us against each other. Jay-Z versus Nas, Detroit versus LA. Destroying their knees, jumping off trampolines. Life isn't a game to play against abortion, but you drink egg yolk. You hypocrites are sick with it. Call y'all hypocrisy. The effect of mental slavery is in the slave children's genes. They'll figure as guests, they compliment the best. I'm telling them about kings and queens. They asking about Loch Ness. Caution your brethren. Cause the brigade I'm sending and wear medallions with Selassie behind the cannon. Chase hype soaps to earn the Golden Fly Awards. In a few years, trust me, we'll be against hoes and cyborgs. With one life to live, devils come and knife your ribs. Putting sodomites in slavery, kidnapping wives and kids of top officials. With missiles destroying homes, political prisons get their lifetime. Bitch, children limbs blown off from your minds, but they won't charge you with war crimes. Charging me for a dime a weed. Vampires that ask how much more do Africans have to bleed. Vampires like Shell, sucking Africa's oil well. Vampires like Coca-Cola say don't drink water, drink soda. Research and find out where they get the cola. Up here, oh yeah, we all like bears wearing the gears polar. Selassie, our children respect, but bow down to nose off. No Ashkenazi Jew salute the kings, bless the empress when they passing through. Klansmen with badges get their faces scooped and feel psychological threats from the guilt complex. Break the slave women to fix his problems of penis envy. Broke us men in like horses to have our brain empty. Use Beyonce as a puppet to sell some more Pepsi. African food will buy if they sold rims on jet skis. If they made a profit, they tell you to drink Sprite your purchase and use a celebrity athlete whose brain's already worthless to reel it in for more sales. Got you biting your nail in anticipation of the release. Corrupt police caught are just as bad as the police force that works for the beast. Trust me, they don't even want blacks to rest in peace. They say I'm crazy, but I'm fully sane. Ease, stress, strain with a stock of sense. They say I'm crazy, but I'm fully sane. Ease, stress, strain with a stock of sense. World Youth Days are Millennium Crusades. In this province and a few states, they marry 2 gays. Up here, gays have their own street. I've been here longer, can't find anything I thought to eat, but it only makes me stronger. Apples taste like oranges. They put in fork and hand cream. Getting ready for selling detergent in gas canteens, man. Still don't see what it means. What I call visions, they call dreams. In my state of consciousness with melanin, I need no sunscreen. I live below the hole in the ozone layer. Non-melanites and sodomites put down the cross and say your prayers. Yeah, I know you got a good heart, but what went around for you came back worse than the flu or chicken pox. That's what you get for your ancestors breaking mining with the ox. Calling me a human when you're 3/5 of me. Egyptian master builders taught Pythagoras' theory. Racists wanna ride but die. When I toss the stick in his scope, surrounding Caucasoid, see no face in high priest clothes. Hype souls get their face broke. For every one of my ancestors hanging on a rope or split apart by horses. To have us on plan, mental destructive forces or in coffins. Black men coming out of closets thinking they got us. For assassination of pagans, we made the highest office. Like 2 walls we meet in the corner. to solidify the deal. Come to find out, he killed the serpent, I'm asking to heal. Gun him off or like a crackhead, run him off the block. Snakes get their head and tail stepped on, their back smashed with a rock. Criminals on patrols are cops, so crime prevention is minimal. Those that racially profile don't make it visible. We fight for rights to be civil in the lands of uncivilized, where superpowers work in the skies. Rain showers leave acid stains, don't let it get in your eyes. Watch for Sambos, they call them spies. Today Black Youth play Rambos and don't care if he lives or dies. Ask why to the slave master, ask why to the slave master. They say I'm crazy but I'm fully sane. E-stress strain with a stock of senses. They say I'm crazy but I'm fully sane. E-stress strain with a stock of senses. They say I'm crazy but I'm fully sane. E-stress strain with a stock of senses. They say I'm crazy but I'm fully sane. E-stress strain with a stock of senses. They say I'm crazy but I'm fully sane. E-stress strain with a stock of senses. Taken for prime. Take it from prime. Commercial rappers wasting time. Take it from prime. Commercial rappers wasting time. You run for money, we run for truth and justice. We don't butt kiss or let cheeks touch lips. I see blacks murdering blacks. Stop the violence, cause it's only you they chase with sirens. Mental Columbus, lost in the sea of reason and thought. Frauds wear the most side colors, but they don't rap it. And speak so much filth accepted without tanks. You fell off the righteous boat without planks. To the elders we give thanks and praises with blessings. For quiet wars, quiet weapons. Take out your station when I'm running spacing. I'm using gravity for navigation. Cross-check Satan, jump your king. Use him as a shield, fade him to fall. Knock Robin Hood and Big John off the log. Into fire and brimstone. I'm not physically in Africa, but mentally I'm still home. I know myself the God in his own reflection of Moore's high priest. At Norton, Malcolm and Martin, Selassie. The list goes on scrolls on walls and temples. My mental doorway is movie trap. Niggas got guns, but they don't know who they should truly clap. Cause they listen to rap, objective distract, so you can't react. Hit or get hit or laid on your back. Take it from prime, they're wasting time. Commercial rappers wasting time. Take it from prime, they're wasting time. Commercial rappers wasting time. Why do we disrespect gays? Cause the world revolves around opposites. Same sex produce no ways. Positive and negative realms, one or the other. Cause if you're playing in between, you're playing yourself. This is why blacks die from blacks are epidemic. Making me ask why to the most high. But understand I can't babysit, I'm on my own vibes. Cause watching you could get my wings split. My last tear dries on the concrete slave ship. Why must black blood drip? Why must you be on a thug tip if you're busting? And when boy them come you're running. If you a rude boy, tell me why. Dying for Jane and Finch and Regent. But with no rent, it's you they gonna eject. You gun toters changed from being loafers. The real enemy got you living and vex how your mom's living. Some of y'all even bringing up children on these same blocks so they can chop the same rock. Aiming at one another but not aiming at pork chops. We down for revolution, dead friends, hit me. If you're with me, get some knowledge quickly. Cause you know that these times are iffy. Who you gonna trust, me or them? If it comes down to the color of your skin. If you're down, then join the army. It's all about freedom. We could die, we could try to get it. Everybody dies one day, so I won't sweat it. Commercial rappers wasting time. Take it from prime, they wasting time. Commercial rappers wasting time. Take it from prime, commercial rappers wasting time. Take it from prime, they wasting time. Why you invading my private space? We living in millennium dark ages. Negative energies disguised as shadows in bright places. Pagans, sodomites have a sight full of fright. When I spot the Israelite behind the dreads. Eyes red, black fatigues with camel tees. I triggered out the whole team. As though it's big concrete. The king's logo is a slave hanging tree. And Nike is run by trannies. Praising evil goddesses from Greece, the swooshes wings, one on both sides. Dark blacks branded, walking billboards, forgot they still gone. It's not yours, but you're fighting his wars. I salute the red, black, and green and gold, y'all in and out of liquor stores, giving strength to devils to occultic holy days. The calendar is a thought challenger to damage your genetic memory bank, which is comedic, which makes you African and free from being lesbians and Batiman. My soul is the alien, and my body is the spaceship. I've seen clubs shot up and bouncers hit. Black mothers pushing carriages with no marriages. Dear mama, keep your head up. Tap the pineal and you won't feel fed up. Stay red up and focus, looking at that eviction notice. Got some drinking devil's liquids and using syringes. Can't cope and jump off bridges or turn to drugs like Todd Bridges. These stick-up kids pick up bids, but those stuck-up never seem to fuck up. Only black faces are screwed in hoodie shadows, getting bucked up or cuffed. They made the big apple the bad apple, blowing up shit's grief with no paddle. I never tied a tail, that's for snitches. Not down for revolution, boy, I get stitches. Instead of putting albums out for slavery, they putting them out for Christmas. Got me wondering, what is it? What I witness? What is it? Commercial rappers wasting time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Islam Mars Tuesday session with the Moors. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Let's have a message for some Moors. Have a message for some Moors. Just put that out quick fast.
Yeah, we're here. In the shopping mall. Yeah, I've never been in the shopping mall either. So yeah, there it is. Two Moors, two nobles. Crown Gemini, Diana Ali Bay. Yeah. Islam.
Islam to the Moors, wherever they're at. Wherever they're at, that they know that they're Moor, even though, it might be across the Atlantic Ocean, whatever. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. All the Moors worldwide. Peace and love. Once again, being Moor is really what it's about. So, some Moors called me. The Moors called me. And they were having some family issues. Some family issues. So they called me up, we talked about it and resolved the issue. Then I was sitting back and I was saying, hey, hold on a second. That's how it's supposed to go. You're not supposed to call some European if you have an issue. You're supposed to be able to know that, okay, I have a covenant with this nation. So anybody in my nation, if I'm on the lowest lows, I'm going to them before I go to some European. Because there's no way that the European has it like that. That our brothers and sisters are not going to look to themselves to save themselves. Think about this. Some Moors had an issue. They said, hold on. Before you throw that whatever, let's just call the Grand Sheikh and see what he says. And then with some logic and some humbling selves and looking at selves and looking at surroundings and issue resolved. Might be some hiccups still later, but you know what? They didn't go to the European. They didn't say, you know what? Storm out the house or whatever like that. Go drink, come back and do something crazy. Make her call. But she didn't be a conniving, you know, Jeru, you know, the Jeru track, the B word track, right? Those kind of women that are gonna just call European just because this brother's just trying to be a father or whatever. They said, yo, let me call a Moor. And it's interesting, but it's because some of that, both of them agreed that, yeah, okay, yeah, fine, let's do that. Which shows that, you know, on our side, when you say infighting with the Moors and all that stuff, on our side, we're at least trying to work out some stuff. And we're trying to look at it like we really have to live by the covenant. And that's how we make it through. He wasn't playing with that. Right? Remember that's not in the Aquarian gospel. Go check. If you think Noble Drew Ali plagiarized some Aquarian gospel, how come the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nations is not in the Aquarian gospel? And if you find some sacred book of the Aquarian gospel that we don't know about that has it in there, then really now think about why are these Europeans talking about some Asiatic whatever. Oh, but that wasn't European stuff. That was Akashic Records information. So when he merged his love vibration with the words of the Aquarian gospel, which is Akashic Records, not some European stuff, he bound just like he bound us to one another. That if you say you're more, you better be down for this, huh? You better not say you're a more and not be down with this. You better not talk about Bay and L and whatever, but you're not with the liberation of our people. Not on some because you got some knowledge, you're going to tell people finance or whatever. And then people who made you who you are, you kick them out your class. Because you're the #1 guy and you don't want this guy to be in your class? Or you don't want this sister to be in your class? And we're doing their best to support and getting chumped. Don't be in denial of the reality. Just like we told the Moors. You know what's funny? You guys are fighting, right? And then look outside. Negroes are doing what they're doing. They could give a what about what's going on in your life if you're a Moor. Of course, there's, you know, the one or two that are going to wake up. Trust me, you've been doing this for years. For years, we've been to all types of different events. Drag out the bag, set up the table with the whatever. Everything good, got the cloth and everything, like nobody can say, you know what I mean? Like we're on some stuff doesn't look right. Stuff looks right. Stuff's tight. Over the years, there's been more, hey, are you more? There's been more of that. We know stuff's working. We used to go drag those bags and one individual comes to our table. One. We got the 2 6-foot tables. DVDs, books. Like you can't even get out of here talking about you want to put out information. Set up the thing, one individual at a table. One thing though, that one individual would stack up. They'd be like, oh my gosh, this? Whoa, oh my gosh. And they'll just go nuts. That one individual. And then some of those individuals, those are the ones that are still around today. It's that real. One individual. Over the years, you know what I mean? It's definitely evolved. Where we go to spots now and so much people, even if it's just building, they don't have to buy anything. Just be around the table to build with the Moors. Moors took it on themselves to sit back and look at each other. Like, okay, okay, I see where I messed up or whatever. Oh yeah, true. Why? Because they realized, forget out there. That's not interested. Only thing that's gonna magnetize is what's interesting. Everything else is waste of your time. Don't even give it your energy. And if you're gonna give it energy, make sure you get something back so you're not drained. Now, going back to the same thing, Moors contacting each other, Moors reaching out to each other. You got issue? Call a Moor who you trust that you could know, yeah, this is my brother or my sister. That's Holy Covenant. And just that energy alone would cause ripple effects for Moors that are, again, interested. Because there's a new, it's past get the people mentally. It's energy that's going to draw them now. Because you don't want everybody. 144,000 still. You don't want everybody. All these people are useless. The whole idea is we were already there in the 1920s. with Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey. We were there. We were over the line. Everything was over. Everything was in our hands. Go check the records. Think back. What happened? People made you forget that this is your land. And that, yes, you're the Aboriginal Indigenous, but you're not some tribe. You're a nation. Yeah, you could claim tribe, but that's just tribe. Well, we're a nation, the tribe of whatever. Amongst people who are tribes, that's it. That's only who your nation. The people who call themselves European, they're a tribe. The tribe of cave dwellers, troglodytes. They don't say they're troglodyte today. Why would they say we're troglodyte? Even they hijacked the concept with Israel, all that. It's documented fact. You have to be a nation. If you're not a nation, forget it. And if you're tribal and you got something, the hand that gives controls. So don't tell me that you got something. Because you got something, everybody will be free. Washita got something, everybody was free. But then what they do, stifle the empress. Because once you take the head, same thing they did with Dr. York, take the head. Because the individuals forgot that this is theirs too. It's not just the leader who's talking at the podium stuff. So 1830, oh yeah, before we do that, we just want to show you the difference, right? With these people who are really for liberation and these sellouts. All these sellouts out here, right? All these sellouts out here.
Hey, what's up? Okay, so I saw this controversy about this bishop that hosted Aretha Franklin's funeral and some issue with Ariana Grande, and he put his arm around her and made a joke about her name, which wasn't a really funny joke, but you know, it was what it was. But I'm gonna tell you what, I looked at the video very closely, and the pastor, the only thing the pastor did wrong was inviting her lame ass to sing in the first place. Seriously.
Now you're a sellout because this pastor, bishop, or whatever, whoever his name is, right?
When I saw Ariana Grande on the program,
forget what he's saying. Watch what he's doing. Watch his right hand. You tell me that this is not some freaking sexual assault going on by a pastor, bishop, whatever he's claiming that he's in. Like, you tell me that wasn't a grab? Now, if you're a black leader guy, 50,000 million views guys are going to tell you that the only thing that the bishop did wrong was invite her up to sing. Know that all these guys are down with the pedophilia or whatever. Because she's a little sister to me. So to bishop guy, that's his daughter. But then again, this is at the Aretha Franklin funeral. Who Aretha Franklin got impregnated by her own dad because she got assaulted. They're gonna play their little games with you with their black BS. How the hell did Aretha Franklin have children at 13 or whatever? Who? You name who's close enough to her. And then a year after that, she's having another one again or whatever? Please. These people and their rituals got his red shirt with the black everything. Not even hiding it from you. Dummies distracted about some Taco Bell BS. Nobody doesn't eat Taco Bell still. Anybody eating Taco Bell right now, they're probably a clone. They're probably not human. There's not some Taco Bell BS. This is a huge, gigantic ritual because Aretha Franklin got molested. That's not just some conspiracy or whatever I'm saying or whatever. She got molested. That's what it is. Pedophilia. Well, it's not real. Oh, you think it's not real? Oh, you're not watching your daughters or whatever? Oh, you let them go online and all that stuff? You go right ahead. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by edges. And cute and stuff like that. They're whoring your daughters out. That's what they're doing. You got daughters? Know that they're whoring your daughters out. Embarrass her. Because remember, they have to make you do something crazy in order for you to be the next big thing. And remember, we have all these little boy bands or whatever, Crisscross and all of them people, to know about the pedophilia stuff that was going on. They're so blatant right now because of people's ignorance that they're just doing it. They're making a pastor do it. That's how crazy it is right now. It's so crazy that at Aretha Franklin's funeral, a pastor is going to rub up on a little girl's titties. Just because. They don't care. They don't care. These people looking out for you? These people? These guys are looking out for you. They have nothing to do with Moors or whatever. Just for all the black, Negro, color, African, conscious, whoever people. This is what you guys repping. This is what you're repping. This pedophilia is what you're repping. You're down with Sodom and Gomorrah? You're down with Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, one Lord, one faith, whatever. You're not about none of that. Selling out your daughters. Just because you want to be stateless, which makes them stateless, which is why they can do all this BS, rituals. Rituals all day, every day on you Negroes. Islam, give thanks for sage and crystals. Give thanks for amulets. Give thanks for essential oils and incense to keep these demons off, keep these demons away. It was all a dream. And then you woke up to this BS. He's like rubbing girls' breasts on stage at a funeral for Aretha Franklin. Keep thinking that they're playing.
We had a historic apology today to the family of a slave who sued for his freedom. It happened in the front of the statue of the Chief Justice who presided over the Supreme Court 160 years ago. Tony Marsala joins us now with more.
Attorney General of the United States, Chief Justice of the United States, Roger Brooke Taney was
a racist. He did believe black people were inferior to white people. So if he woke up right now, he looked down there and he would say, "What the hell's going on?" I mean, I'm sure he would be happy about this.
This, a day of reconciliation. This, a day when two families bound by the weight of American history met on the grounds of our State House. This, a day marking the 160th anniversary of the Dred Scott decision by Taney's Supreme Court.
There was a really mixed views in my family about it. As a lot of people, it was like they were proud of the name because it was a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court for other rulings he had made that was not the Dred Scott decision, and yet everybody agreed that there was a complete smear on our name and that it was a terrible, terrible decision.
Some decisions last a lifetime. This one will last forever. Dred Scott was a slave who sued for his freedom. The court's decision was that slaves were not citizens and therefore had no rights in American courts. It continued slavery into the Western expansion beyond Missouri. The ruling happened March 6, 1857. Today, March 6, 2017, Taney's family apologized to the Scotts.
There's clearly something about seeing the Scotts and the Taneys side by side, working on together in reconciliation that strikes a real chord in people.
It's an open door for us to say, if the Scotts and the Taneys can reconcile, can't you?
Lynn Jackson is the great-great-granddaughter of Dred Scott. She runs the Dred Scott Foundation in St. Louis. She's hoping that today's apology can lead to a much greater reconciliation.
If you look at relationships in our nation, these are supposed to be the two are supposed to really hate each other. But it's not about hatred. It's about understanding and relationship, and then relationship building and trust.
Tony Marsala, ABC 2 News.
What a story that was. There have been discussions.
What a story that was, he says. What a story that was. Because you're still black. So what reconcile with what? Because even though you reconcile, you're still black. You're still the slave of Scott. Why didn't they say, you know, as the Taneys, we're actually going to end that slavery, all that BS. Since he made the ruling, we are going to, everybody who names Scott, you're free. Get rid of that name and claim something else. And then you're going to be stuck begging them for the name back. Because you've been told what's up. That it's all about, do you have a nationality? "160 years to reconcile because of their ancestor. Because remember, they always play the game. They didn't benefit from slavery or whatever. but they never want to give these people back their name. What name? What name are you talking about? We were the Kemetic and the what? No. Where are you right now? Where are you? Are you on the continent of Africa? Right? No? You're in North America? Okay, all right. Shut the hell up and deal with North American history. Forget about some stuff went over there. Forget over there. Deal with here. This is yours to deal with over here. Before you talk about going over there, go do something. These people know who you are. These people know who you are.
Letter from George Washington to Muhammad ibn Abdullah.
She's not reading this, but make sure you read this and make sure you read this. You don't worry about what she's saying right now. You just make sure you read that.
Sultan of Morocco, from the city of New York, December 1st, 1789. Great and magnanimous friend, since the date of the letter which late Congress, by their president, addressed to your Imperial Majesty, the United States of America have thought proper to change their government and institute a new one, agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor herewith to enclose a copy. The time necessarily employed in the arduous tasks and the disarrangements occasioned by so great, though peaceable, a revolution will apologize and account for your Majesties not having received those regularly advised marks of attention from the United States, which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct toward them afforded reason to expect. The United States having unanimously appointed me to supreme executive authority in this nation, your Majesty's letter of August 17, 1788, which by reason of this dissolution of the late government remained unanswered, has been delivered to me. I have also received the letters which your Imperial Majesty has been so kind as to write in favor of the United States to the Bolshars of Tunis and Tripoli. And I present to you the sincere acknowledgments and thanks of the United States for this important mark of your friendship for them. We greatly regret the hostile disposition of those regencies toward this nation, who have never injured them, is not to be removed on terms of our power to comply with. Within our territories, there are no mines, whether of gold or silver. And this young nation, just recovering from the waste and dissolution of a long war, have not as yet had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce. But our soil is bountiful, and our people industrious, and we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. The encouragement which your Majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions, the punctuality with which you have caused the treaty with us to be observed, and the just and generous measures taken in the case of Captain Proctor, make a deep impression on the United States and confirm their respect for an attachment to your Imperial Majesty. It gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity of assuring your Majesty that, while I remain at the head of this nation, I shall not cease to promote every measure that may conduce to the friendship and harmony which so happily subsists between your empire and them, and shall esteem myself happy in every occasion of convincing your Majesty of the high sense which, in common with the whole nation, I entertain, the magnanimity, wisdom, and benevolence of your Majesty. May the Almighty bless your imperial majesty, our great and magnanimous friend, with his constant guidance and protection. George Washington.
Think about this. Huey P. Newton's critique of cultural nationalism still seems apropos, even if a bit overstated. The cultural nationalists are concerned with returning to the old African culture and thereby regaining their identity and freedom. In other words, they feel that the African culture will automatically bring political freedom. The movement, 1968. Everybody's about regaining some identity. Yeah, you hear them talk today about regaining identity, but they're telling you about some indigenous and some aboriginal. But they keep running away from the fact that over here is Morocco, the farthest west. So don't tell me about you're part of your own whatever. Because you're part of the Moroccan Empire. How are you your own tribe of something? The reason why you have the so-called tribal sovereignty to do whatever is because you're under the Moroccan Empire. You're ipso jure Moorish subject. You're ipso jure. But, you know, if they're claiming you as something else and you're not correcting them, then you are what they claim. Indian and all that stuff. Because you already know that you got the grants and all the stuff. Nothing happened with the grants. People still suffering, no water, all that stuff. You're still complaining. But you got the grant money. So once you stray away from the name, you spread us thin as a people. Because it's really not hard for you to say Aboriginal and Indigenous Moors. It's really not that hard. You don't want to say that. It's really not hard to say we're Hebrew Moors. You don't want to say that. It's really not hard that we're saying Kemetic Moors. But we can't say that because Bam was in the pedophilia or whatever, so we can't say Kemetic Moors. We're going to go back to Zulu. You're denationalized people? You take a, what do you mean? Because he did something in pedophilia, people aren't Moors. That when you joined that organization, you were proclaiming that you're a Moor. Playing around with people. Rubbing little girls' breasts on stage at funerals. Claiming that they're for your liberation, buy something from us, and then you don't get the stuff that they claim that they were selling. They're for the liberation, but they're running from what's your identity. These are the ones right here. Militant retreat. Oh yeah, and we're reading from their guy. We're reading from their black scholar, Amos Wilson. Blueprint for Black Power. This is the blueprint for Black Power. All the Black Power people, this is you guys' blueprint, because I know you rep Amos Wilson. None of you could say you don't rep Amos Wilson. So stop playing. He knows you people because he tried to liberate the minds. And these people want to be dumbasses and just clap at lectures. When since 60s, El Hajj is telling you, what the hell are you clapping? Stop the damn clapping. There's not no clapping stuff. What are you clapping about? I say something and you're clapping? Knew his own because he studied them. Go get Blueprint for Black Power. See how big this book is. 800 pages on these people. On the Blueprint for Black Power. You think they're repping some of this? They're not repping this. They're actually manifesting the prophecy of the things in this that he told them watch out for. Oh yeah, you don't think? Okay, all right, let's. Militant Retreat. The critique originally leveled against cultural nationalism by Robert Allen still holds true for an important segment of the nationalist community. Allen correctly points out that the belief that Black culture and art and the mere individual and group reclamation of African culture and identity alone will somehow bring about a revolution has allowed a passive retreat into Blackness on the part of some of those who call themselves revolutionaries. He goes on to say, these so-called Black revolutionaries measure their militancy by how much Black awareness they have or how bad they can talk. Verbal militance thus replaces action. Think about all these YouTube people. Everybody's on their couch, liberating you. Liberating you from their couch while you send donations. But they're liberating you though. Then the people who are actually in the field, they're just doing it because somebody's got to do this BS. Somebody's got to slap these people to wake them up. Somebody's going to have to stick their finger down their throat, give them mouth to mouth for them to wake up. Don't worry, we have the little plastic thing that you put over the mouth so you don't have to touch the stuff. Don't worry. Everything's covered. Black culture, verbal militance verbal militance thus replaces action. And the net result is passive non-resistance to oppression. This is right where we're at right now. This is right where we're at. Passive non-resistance to oppression. These people getting oppressed by these Europeans. They don't want to do nothing against the Europeans that's oppressing them. They're not saying Europeans, the foreigners that's oppressing them. They want to go take it out on their brother, who's being oppressed by these same people, and they don't realize three of us. There's three of us. And then two of us have a beef with one guy. Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? If my math is right, if there's one guy over there fighting me, and he's fighting you, and I'm fighting you, well, I mean, you just link up. Passive non-resistance wouldn't even stand up for the smallest thing. Black culture becomes a badge to be worn rather than an experience to be shared. While fully supportive of the need for a deepening awareness of Black culture and history and the absolutely crucial role it must and has and does play in motivating and shaping Black activism and the politics of African liberation, we concur with Allen when he cautions that cultural nationalism can become a retreat into reaction if it is not firmly incorporated into a revolutionary political movement. Revolutionary political movement, the greatest revolutionary act you could do is declare your ancient foremothers and forefathers' name and principles. Because that's also a political act. And its purpose is to free you from the oppression. That once the pressure is relieved from the oppression, now you can be. How is it that they know? Amos Wilson. They know him. He's telling you these people that we're seeing today. The so-called Black revolutionaries measure their militancy by how much Black awareness they have. But it has allowed a passive retreat into Blackness. Think metaphysical. Blackness meaning you're ignorant. A retreat into ignorance. A retreat into a place where you really think because you bought that drum from some African vendor guy, or because you went to the continent and you kissed the pyramid, you know who you are. That's what know who you are is. And there's many people that are lost that we even thought were awake. Have to come to the realization that if we're over here, there has to be a culture that was here. What was that culture that was here? Was it some stuff that we're doing today? Probably not. Our whole foundation for where we are is based in certain people's teachings when we deal with the psychology and the workings of the mind with our people. It was Dr. Naim Akbar, Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing, Dr. Amos Wilson, and Dr. Charles Finch. Now, where somebody like Ivan Van Sertima is for the history, Amos Wilson was for the psychology. So he wasn't some nobody. These were individuals who even broke into a particular lane that allowed us to a psychological perspective get into the metaphysical ways that we can get ourselves out of the liberation, out of the oppression, right? You're talking about 31 chapters. 31 chapters. Not shying away from anything. A school was supposed to be built by the Black Power guys just because of this book. Because this book is a curriculum for the liberation of our people. If they say that they rep some Black Power, this is the blueprint for Black Power. He wasn't playing. His years of work didn't go into this for you not to implement it. As Moors, we already know that we RBG and all that. Like we're already doing this. That's why we can talk how we talk. Because we're not just talking this. We're actually doing what it is that these people before us gave us certain teachings, and it was for us to implement it. Or these people just did whatever in vain. It didn't matter. It mattered not. Because again, the people become docile. The people have forgot that you can't just leech off the head. If you are part of this body, you have a function. You're not supposed to be a cancer to the body. We are actually really supposed to, we're really supposed to be further on than we are. But we had to reach the lowest lows to get to this place where we are right now. Like we said earlier, more is all over. More is all over. Oh yeah, this one too. Now, I'm just saying, who has to say that they're Moors for people to see that something's up? Now, this is the real Rick Ross son on Instagram. Who has to tell you? Who has to tell you? Right? I mean, you got fezzes, you got people repping the flag. You think it's not time to stop being black? Stop being conscious? Stop being some tribe? Think about it again. Why not just say Aboriginal Indigenous Moors? Why not say autochthonous Moors? Why not say Hebrew Israelite Moors? Why not? Just for unity's sake. Why not just say that? Let's say black Moors. Don't call yourself black anymore. Call yourself black Moors. Look, don't call yourself Negroes. They're Moriscos. They're Ethiopian. They're Abyssinian Moors. Senegalese Moors. Ghanaian Moors. Nigerian Moors. Brazilian Moors. Just put Moors on it. You know, again, nothing new under the sun. Many are called, chosen are few. So we already know this is about the Moors getting to Islam to one another. The little time that we got. And for those one or two who like to come by the table and build because they heard something, and they want to know what this thing is about because you're wearing the fezzes. I know of fezzes. At least I know that. So we have to talk about some things. And they'll feel bad that day. Oh man, I didn't get to go to anybody else's table. No, we're here. You'll go do your thing. All right, man, I'll be right back. And they're back in 5 minutes. Like, man, I was walking over there thinking about what we're talking about, and I just had to come back right now. Because this earth walk is more divine than physical. This earth walk isn't really for what's going on in the earth realm. This earth walk is to get yourself prepared for the next walk that you're going to be going on after this walk. Moroccan flag up. So Islam to the Moors, fly high, lost but found. And then again, if we go back to the movie, 2008 Robin Hood. So if Jamie Foxx knows, like, why would this Joker play a serious part? Think it's not about putting it on the record? It's not putting on the record? Everybody who repped it with Eli, Morgan Freeman repped it. Don't be left behind. You don't want to be left behind. You've been told. And it's all about when are you going to accept the fact, opposed to being in denial that we're Moorish, whatever. Let's put M-O-O-R in there. You want to put ish on it, if you want to put Ano on it, if you want to put whatever, doesn't matter. Once you have that M-O-O-R, we're good. Oh yeah, you can be the Kemetic Moors, of course. Why not? M-A-U-R is in the hieroglyphs. Kemetic guys say, no, it's M-A.U-R. Yeah, M-A-U-R. What don't you get? What are you being, why are you looking at that so mundane? Why aren't you looking at that metaphysical? For all the people who say, well, where does it say more past Spain? How about go to hieroglyphics? Ask E. Wallace Budge. Don't argue with Cujo. That's not me. Go ask E. Wallace Budge how he came up with that. Go and try. (1830), Reverend Peter Williams Jr. Reverend Peter Williams Jr. 14 years after its founding, the American Colonization Society remained controversial among African Americans. By 1830, many of them opposed it, and more generally the idea of forced or voluntary repatriation of blacks to Africa. Now, why would these blacks who came over here on a slave ship be opposed to the idea of voluntary repatriation to Africa? And then the whole point, again, why even I went on the hour rant, was to show you the difference between this bishop, pastor, reverend guy, pervert, and Peter Williams Jr. So you can have a reference point as to what a real one of those people with the white collar or whatever is supposed to be standing for. Every man knows the slide grab to touch the breast. Every man knows it. I'm sure some sisters know it too. And this man pulled that on this girl. Only reason it makes sense to be some ritual or whatever. Other than that, it doesn't make any sense why you would slide grab the little girl on national TV, whatever. Then you have the sellouts talking about he ain't doing nothing to her. She can't sing. Check the difference of the pervs. Know what's real by who's really standing up for and who's playing you. By 1830, many of them opposed it. the Colonization Society, American Colonization Society. One of these opponents, Reverend Peter Williams Jr., the minister at the largest predominantly Black Episcopal church in New York City, gave an impassioned speech on July 4th, 1830, calling for African American allegiance to the U.S., but also demanding that the nation treat its Black citizens as the full equal of others. But although this anniversary affords occasion of rejoicing to the mass of the people of the United States, there is a class, a numerous class, consisting of nearly 3 millions who participate but little in its joys and are deprived of their unalienable rights by the very men who so loudly rejoice in the declaration that all men are born free and equal. Blacks don't have inalienable rights. When your brothers and sisters who were trying to liberate you in the 1800s had to speak to you dumbed down so you can get the point, which is the point of bringing up these types of speeches. Moors bringing up historical reference points, law reference points. The inalienable rights, the unalienable rights. That these people, this numerous class, consisting of nearly 3 million, are being deprived of is something that the very men who are depriving claim that all men are born free and equal. The reason why you're not treated free and equal because you're claiming to be Black. You're claiming to be some fake nation that you're not. And everybody knows that you're Moors. The festivities of this day serve but to impress upon the minds of reflecting men of color a deeper sense of the cruelty, the injustice, and oppression of which they have been the victims. Impress upon the minds of reflecting men of color reflecting men of color, a deeper sense of the cruelty, the injustice, and the oppression. You are the cruelty, the injustice, and the oppression, reflecting off yourself for you to see how ugly you are, for you to see that you're the one that's created this for yourself. Just like what we were talking about earlier. The Moors realized, hold on a second, they ain't calling no European. We're gonna do for ourselves. We're gonna handle our own affairs. In handling our own affairs, we save the nation. Because we are a nation. All for one, one for all. Hip, hip, hooray. While others rejoice in their deliverance from a foreign yoke, they mourn that a yoke 1,000-fold more grievous is fastened upon them. Alas, they are slaves in the midst of freedom. They are slaves to those who boast that freedom is the unalienable right of all, and the clanking of their fetters and the rejoice of their wrongs make a horrid discord in the songs of freedom which resound through the land. The songs of freedom which resound through the land. The only clown that's offbeat are the ones that are claiming to be slaves. Remember, this is a reverend. Now, if he's not a slave, what's up? If he's gonna go meet with the American Colonization Society, obviously he's not some Negro out here. Oh yeah, he is the largest predominantly black Episcopal church in New York. From various causes, among which we cheerfully admit a sense of justice to have held no inconsiderable rank, the work of emancipation has within a few years been rapidly advancing in a number of states. The state we live in since the 4th of July, 1827, has been able to boast that she has no slaves, and other states where there still are slaves appear disposed to follow her example. How come you people today aren't about freedom? Now we know Emancipation Proclamation didn't do anything. We know it didn't free anybody. So obviously these people were already free. And being that they're free, they're taking their position. That no, what do you mean you're gonna try to put together something that we could go back to Africa? What the hell are you talking about? What do you mean go back to Africa? And again, that goes right in line with Noble Drew Ali talking about there's no way that this is ever going to be compared to some back to Africa movement. It is earnestly hoped that when you look at Moors, you don't even look at some back to Africa or whatever. Don't even go there. Why? Because just like the Reverend, letting these people know that they're Aboriginal and indigenous to the land. You're free people. Only natives of the land would be the free people. There will be some people that came from somewhere else to somebody else's land and they're free. Don't forget, we used to scalp them and stuff like that. They were terrified of the Indians. They civilized the heathen because we were warriors. That terrified them. But alas, the freedom to which we have attained is defective. Freedom and equality have been put asunder. The rights of men are decided by the color of their skin. Isn't that what you people are dealing with today? Which is why you're in this position with your defective freedom and equality. Or your conscious whatever, or yeah, your freedom defective. Because the rights of men are decided by the color of the man's skin. Privileges are. Privileges are decided by the color of your skin. Rights are by the content of your character. Are you a human being? Or are you classified as a non-entity? And if you are classified as a non-entity, then why are you even talking? Why are you even opening your mouth? And there is much difference made between the rights of a free white man and a free colored man, as there is between a free colored man and a slave. There is much difference made between the rights of a free white man and a free colored man, as there is between a free colored man and a slave. Giving you reference points again. Remember, think about individuals back then, just like we are today, and we say stuff that we said 8 years ago, that was for people who are getting into this right now. So they have something that they can reference. That they have, oh yeah, it was you guys at the whatever, how much ever years ago. Though delivered from the fetters of slavery, we are oppressed by an unreasonable, unrighteous, and cruel prejudice, which aims at nothing less than the forcing away of all the free colored people of the United States to the distant shores of Africa. Far be it from me to impeach the motives of every member of the African Colonization Society. The civilizing and Christianizing of that vast continent and the extirpation of the abominable traffic in slaves, which notwithstanding all laws passed for its suppression, is still carried on in all its horrors, are no doubt the principal motives which induce many to give it their support. These are the people that you had speaking up for the liberation of the people, because they couldn't speak up for themselves. They didn't want to. The realization of freedom and being free was in their face, just like today. Moors that are allodial, exercising their right. Some of them having issues, whatever. Some of them not having issues. But regardless, the claim is made that I'm not you guys Negro. They know. It's not like we're looking at 1830, right? 1830 seems like, a righteous brother. He's coming out and saying that this is our country. Why is this society trying to get us to leave here, to go somewhere else where they say they took us from slavery, the distant shores? But there are those, and those who are most active and most influential in its cause, who hesitate not to say that they wish to rid the country of the free colored population, and there is sufficient reason to believe that with many, this is the principal motive for supporting that society. And that whether Africa is civilized or not, and whether the slave trade be suppressed or not, they would wish to see the free colored people removed from this country to Africa. Africa could certainly be brought into a state of civil and religious improvement without sending all the free people of color in the United States there. A few well-qualified missionaries, properly fitted out and supported, would do more for the instruction and improvement of the natives of that country. The natives of that country? The natives of that country. So natives is a concept not just limited to North America. And if you look over there, the natives of that country, but hold on a second. If they're talking about Africa could certainly be brought into a state of civil. He's talking about country, Africa. Lots is not being told that should be told. Because if we're talking about the slaves and the slave trade, we're talking about that northwestern, northeastern part of that continent that would have been called Africa because it was conquered. Which would mean Africa is really just a colony and not even close to a continent, because really and truly we know that that's Asia. They know what they're doing. a few well-qualified missionaries, properly fitted out and supported, would do more for the instruction and improvement of the natives of that country than a host of colonists, the greater part of whom would need to be instructed themselves, and all of whom for a long period would find enough to do to provide for themselves instead of instructing the natives. So basically, if all these dumb Negroes go over there where there's some more dumb Negroes that are caught up in Christianity and all this other BS, if those people are going to be sent over there, those people are now going to be colonists. Now, why would you call them colonists if that's where they came from on the slave ship? If they came from there on the slave ship, why would going back there make them colonists if that's where they came from on the slave ship? I mean, now they're from over there. Then they came over here. On a slave ship. But then somebody who is against some Europeans trying to get the slaves back to Africa, when he makes reference to these people going back to Africa where they came from, he calls them colonists. Are you registering that you're home? And again, we already know only two people are gonna be at the table. And those two people are gonna go in, they'll be at the table all night. Forget what's going on up in here. I'm dealing with the Moors all night. I don't care what's going on. I came here to see you guys because I was just leaving my house and I finished reading this book and then it said the Moors, and then I got here and then the Moors are here. Yeah, we know. This all happened for you. It has nothing to do with us. We just, you know, we didn't know we were gonna be here. You being here in this moment in time, and then you're vibrating that, you know, this message is actually making sense when I actually think for myself. When I actually stop and think for myself and use my own common sense, it makes sense to have a nationality and claim that I'm part of a nation. Because then look around, everybody else seems to be doing that. Everybody else seems to be sure that, yeah, and then again, you know, going again with this back to somewhere. If the land was all one, then there's no somebody telling you go back anywhere. It's all one. And all of us are one. Ham, Cush, Noah, whoever. It's all one people, same people. But again, people caught up in their tribal BS won't just put more on everything. And let's have unity. Just put more on it so we could do something. Not tired playing? Just put more on it. It doesn't even have to be everybody. All the ones out there who get that concept and want to unify, just put more on it and contact the Moors. If you're a Hebrew Israelite and you've been secretly studying, because you already know that as soon as you start talking about you're a Moor, these people are going to want to take your head or whatever. If you read the hieroglyphics for yourself and you saw more in there and it made sense to you, MA.UR, well, it actually says more, really, if I look at it with my spiritual Heru eye and all that stuff, then just put more on it. Comedic, whoever, and start coming to class and learning with the Moors. Are you Garv yet? Yeah, just put more on it, Pan-African. Don't worry, you don't have to tell your leader guy or whatever. You just get down with Moors. They're out here. You might even know some personally. That because of the brainwash that they have you under, that you're limited to some one school of thought. You're the founder of civilization and all you are is just Kemetic, that's it? Who's taking you serious? Right, look at that. Then the more just dropped BE in indigenous. BE. BE is Bay in Ojibwe. If BE is Bay, pronounced Bay in Ojibwe. If BE is pronounced Bay, then what more you want, Aboriginal indigenous guys? Matter of fact, where is it? Matter of fact, right here. Here's another one. Again, Aboriginal, indigenous. Aboriginal, indigenous. Negambe, Maksingali. Negambe, Negambe, again, Muksingali. Name correction form for Aboriginal, indigenous, who was colonized by these Europeans. He's on the reserve. And he's trying to get the word out to his people that are on the reserve. That, hey, we're not Indians. Look in my name. It says Bay right there. That's Moorish. Nobody ever told us that in Aboriginal, indigenous, whatever, that there's Bay in our indigenous language. Immediately proclaim his nationality. If I already got Bay in it, why am I saying I'm Indian? Bays aren't Indians. And I have the Bay. Like in the indigenous culture, you would get the slave name, but you know, you would have your indigenous name. Right? So his indigenous name had the Bay. He's studying and all that. Found out about Moors somehow. However you found out about Moors, Aboriginal and indigenous guy. Found out he's not Indian. You're not, what? 5 civilized tribes? El Bede Al Ali? What? What? You mean the Six Nations is the nations after the 5 civilized tribes is the 6 nations? Because if you have 5 civilized tribes, then why would they call themselves 6 nations unless they're the 6 after the 5? And the native guy said, there's Bay in the name that they gave me when they said, the ritual, you're not going to be called the European name anymore. We're going to call you Negambe. And he just, well, it's an indigenous name. And then he got the Indian card, and then he's doing all the Indian card. Most High definitely was working through that chief or whatever for him to get the status correction from the chief and then be given the name Bay from the chief. That when more science came across his intersection, he immediately pointed it out and started going in that direction. They all know the 1830, the Reverend telling me. 1830, right? Not these ones. Not these pastors right here. Not these bishops and these so-called black leaders. Not these ones. Not these pedophile ones right here. Here they come for the pedophiles. Get them! They're over there. Go get those bastards. Goddamn perverts. The colonies planted by white men on the shores of America, so far from benefiting the Aborigines, corrupted their morals, and caused their ruin. And yet those who say we are the most vile people in the world would send us to Africa to improve the character and condition of the natives. Such arguments would not be listened to for a moment were not the minds of the community such arguments would not be listened to for a moment were not the minds of the community strangely wrapped by prejudice. Much has also been said by the colonizationists about improving the character and condition of the people of color of this country by sending them to Africa. This is more inconsistent still. We are to be improved by being sent far from civilized society. This is a novel mode of improvement. What is there in the burning sun, the arid plains, and barbarous customs of Africa that is so peculiarly favorable to our improvement? What hinders our improvement here, where schools and colleges abound, where the gospel is preached at every corner, and where all the arts and sciences are verged fast to perfection? Nothing but prejudice. It requires no large expenditures, no hazardous enterprises to raise the people of color in the United States to a highly improved state as any class of the community. All that is necessary is that those who profess to be anxious for it should lay aside their prejudices and act towards them as they do by others. We are natives of this country. We ask only to be treated as well as foreigners. Not a few of our fathers suffered and bled to purchase its independence. We ask to be treated as well as those who fought against it. We have toiled to cultivate it and to raise it to its present prosperous condition. We ask only to share equal privileges, right, with those who come from distant lands to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Let these moderate requests be granted, and we need not go to Africa nor anywhere else to be improved and happy for all the planet risk and CG Tolo and all that stuff. People want to go there, right? You're in your home right here. Raise your mind if you want to go somewhere. We cannot but doubt the purity of the motives of those persons who deny us these requests and would send us to Africa to gain what they might give us a home. The African Colonization Society is a numerous and influential body. Would they lay aside their own prejudices, much of the burden would be at once removed, and their example, especially if they are as anxious to have justice done us here as to send us to Africa, would have such an influence upon the community at large as would soon cause prejudice to hide its deformed head. But alas, the course which they have pursued has an opposite tendency. By the scandalous misrepresentations which they are continually giving of our character and conduct, we have sustained much injury and have reason to apprehend much more. Without any charge of crime, we have been denied all access to places to which we formerly had the most free intercourse. The colored citizens of other places, on leaving their homes, have been denied the privilege of returning, and others have been absolutely driven out. Has the Colonization Society had no effect in producing these barbarous measures? They profess to have no other object in view than the colonizing of the free people of color on the coast of Africa with their own consent. But if our homes are made so uncomfortable that we cannot continue in them, or if, like our brethren in Ohio and New Orleans, we are driven from them and no other door is open to receive us but Africa, our removal there will be anything but voluntary. It is very certain that very few people of color wish to go to that land. It is very certain that very few free people of color wish to go to that land. Shame on you, sellouts. Shame on you, sellouts. You pedophile pimps you. You sellout pedophile pimps. Honors to the Reverend Peter Williams Jr. for speaking, at least for speaking the truth. At least for talking up against classifying ourselves as something that we're not. Like these people classify themselves as bishops and pastors and reverends and whatever, and they're fondling little girls, talking about apologize for it. Oh, I'm sorry that I did that. I didn't mean whatever. Every man knows that move, yo. And any man saying that he didn't pull the move on the little girl, we're watching you funny. You're probably a pedophile too. Touching people's children, that's your godchildren and stuff like that. Playing around. These fake pastors will never talk to you like this. Never. This is how they won't talk. The colonization society knows this, and yet they do certainly calculate that in time they will have us all removed there. How can this be affected but by making our situation worse here and closing every other door against us? How, Pastor Guy? How are you going to get into heaven if you're fondling little girls' breasts? How? How, Pastor? And congregation that follows Pastor. We're looking at you funny. If you were there, if you were at this stuff, and you're not talking about it, we're watching you funny. Everybody who was up there, especially the people who were on the stage, especially y'all. You're gonna sit back while the white collar does pedophilia in front of you on stage, so it's not like you couldn't see. Right? He thought you couldn't see because of the podium. He thought he was out of view. Who knows how long he's been watching her? Pervert. And shut the hell up about that's my brother and all that stuff. We don't do pedophilia. Forget brother. Especially the fact that he apologized, which he knows he did something wrong. But they already got the picture. They already got you. You already sold your soul. Because you shouldn't have did it in the first place. You should have, no, I'm not going to host the funeral if that's what you want me to do. And then you should have went and told the world that they said, in order for me to get my church or whatever, I have to touch the girl's breasts. And I told them, no, I'm not going to do it. But nah, you wanted your church. You wanted your whatever it is that these people are giving you. Remember, it's not when you study because there's a lot of studies on these people's mentality, these psychopaths that play this game. These psychopaths know what it is that they're doing. Like these aren't oops moments. These people know what they're doing because they were either given the offer that you have to do this, because again, this is not something that people with eyes can't see. And again, the question is, why do this? What is the purpose of doing this? For everyone to see. And then you do it. If these people didn't want something on you or you had something from them, and that was your stuff that you had to do. And again, it just shows where our people are at. That they're not even going after for saying that, oh, it's all right, he didn't do nothing to her. What do you mean he didn't do nothing to her? But all these people are down with it. All these people's position is to keep you in this thing, caught up in this right here, that you miss what's really going on because you're so caught up in the soap opera. Think somebody died and all that stuff. That wasn't somebody died, that was a ritual. That's how it had to go. Because, you know, and again, no matter what these people do, there's higher forces than them. So they're going to be revealed when they try to do their BS, but only to those who have eyes open. And the ones who are asleep that, you know, get nudged sometimes, those people are the ones that this is for. Because most already know about the pedophilia and all that stuff in the industry. It ain't nothing. You know. But you can't condemn the one pastor guy and not look at the whole establishment as whatever, because, you know, it ain't like people haven't been talking about how they even get down. That this might not even be, this might be some stuff from just that church or whatever. Any lady that comes on the stage, pastor's gonna get his rub-a-dubs. Watch out for these people out here. It's vampire time. It's definitely vampire time. So don't forget, 9:30, for all the people with the, well, RV Bay and RV Bay, and they didn't, and they weren't, and I tried to, but 8 months ago, and oh yeah, 8 months ago? Okay, how about you call into the show? Because they're very open to discussion. You know what I mean? They're very open to discussion, especially when you approach with an intelligent tone. If you don't come with an intelligent tone, I can't say what you're going to get or whatever. But if you can humble yourself and speak in an intelligent tone, they will definitely give you some guiding light. So MHHS Eyes Wide Open on Blog Talk Radio. You can go online and listen, but we suggest you do the call-in because the call-in is just more exciting when you call it. You know, just more exciting. So the call-in number, 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201 and 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Peace and love to all the Moors. Give thanks, Moors, for your time and energy and everything else. As you know, we shall keep doing what we're doing, liberating our people, keeping our people in the right frame of mind so that they can study, and free themselves. Because the only way you are going to be free is if you free yourself. There's no other way that you will get freedom. There's no other way. The only way is by freeing yourself. And you just have to be the one that really wants to be free. You know that there's a lot of peer pressure to be a dumb nigger. Dumb nigger. Study. Recognize that truth will always reign supreme. Truth will always reign supreme. All you have to do is just trust that little voice. Don't deny the little voice, because the little voice been telling you, wake the hell up. You've been playing. It's time to stop playing. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Islam to all. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the Messiah Marcus Garvey. Honors to all the Els, Bays, Days, Als, and Alis all across the world. Keep doing that good work that you're doing. It's definitely needed. And it's definitely needed. And it's definitely time. Peace and love, Moors. Islam.
Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. There's UFOs and underground bunkers, still use nanotech to hunt us. Throat chakra tapper, watcher of the watchers, pulling up the skirts of the agent stalkers like dub plates and midnight marauders, stomping on e-villains, conspiring with warlords and straw guards. Tried to hide but they saw us with candles, tear the matrix, turn to sawdust. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Too many love to use force and wasting power, leaving water running and you're not even in the shower. Class in the kitchen when I go to Palmer. On their court when the servants are on you. Ask for warrant cards and oaths of police enforcers. Only when we tell them will they do for us. Pulling out Billy Bats ready for orders. Beat yourself in the head to a corpse corpus. This ain't the 60s, I'll help Klansmen burn crosses. Suicide rhyme mission and vision got them taking losses. Codes are Morses, sung by daughters of a Tsar and a set. The moon and the star orbits. Now we stand on the stage and player auctions, getting offers to play and trade options. You have no defense, only offense. Too late, no smiles when entering GM's office. 10-year veteran treated like a novice. You could act AI, Rodman or Williamson Corliss, or act Hamilton. Why? The players won't start their own league or try. Bad ass slapping and on the defense napping and getting schooled by rookie MVP captains, trapping for touch fouls or dribbles over crossing. They should give more than their profit from endorsements, getting fined for comments when fans torment. Only GM sons can apply for ball boy employment. Got sister from the hood paid grants to sing anthems, kicked out the league for drugging and sex scandals. Only real role models, no promos for Cole Brothers. Donate on fee I made from their best-selling old novels. UPLIFTINGFALLEN, humanity.
Breathing life to this game. Anyone exploiting the art, I got to kill them. I swing my sword, they die hard. Bruce Willis, this is for the minds of the young Asiatics. The most incredible when I speak mathematics. I generate revenue, so if you see me, I'm never sleepy. I shed light wherever we be, like no the last TV. I'm resurrecting, critical thought when I'm expressing. With a depth, East Coast text is the return of the avatars, and we catching wreck till it ain't no way left in any pen. Anywhere that we been, we fearsome with the desire to make the peoples rise up. I'm like Enoch and exquisite scripture, diviner, paradigm shifting, rhyme designer, ascending higher. It's the sire, it's none lava, sun's wiser. The Nazarene dream, lyrical messiah, building like a carpenter in Versailles. Hard body with the style, like the ancient poets from the distant past, with skin that was burned like brass, conducting like gold. The smell of nine, or melanine. I'm still in the limelight from any scene in the flash, like I wear a mask made for skiing. The pristinest MC when I'm teaching, never preaching. When I conceive, birth beneath the same degrees. That was locked within my genes when my mother first perceived that I was coming into being. Basically, I'm the best at passing any trial or test. When I reach them on the path, rise above them like cream with supreme class. FOI the MCs when I spaz. And the wealth stacking is in action. The precious metal snatching, forging the justice sword slashing. Olive skin, Moorish assassin with woolly hair on my beam. The hardest spitting since 16. Because I studied like a fiend. And now I smoke mics like Gil Scott-ish heron. Some we reigning, and from here on we slay men who fake illumination for their own personal gain. And the new Mars is here, yo, it's time for changes.
Yo, IHF to the core empowers me. Super Saiyan levels, Dragon Ball Z. Even if you see me, you don't see me. Alchemy equals backwards in my trees. How they make the fruits with no seeds in the trees. I'm supernatural. Make the stuff with ease, like my nuts blowing in the breeze. On the system, As they walk in the streets, it's Car City. My heart is for my people. Spiritual war, heavy artillery, full mental store. Blood and guts spills, fists get torn. So I drop bombs of melanin on the unborn. Ultimate darkness crushes the fake masses. Mess around, get turned out like jackasses. We are the chemistry, get studied in classes. Fly by pin trails, leave rashes on asses. This stuff ain't for the weak, not for them savages. Sight beyond sight, leave murmur and bandages. Circle 7 light, man, they can't handle this. I shine that bright. Get shook in my presence. Don't make me have to stub nose you with my silence. My essence crushes evidence and tends to resistance. Mother Earth gon' shake, man, and rackle the pestilence. No chemical injections, aka vaccinations. My spidey sense went off, time to switch locations. Locations. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it a ritual.
Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Liquor sis hold the niggas crack in a crotch. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Liquor you man got 2 hands with blocks. Always red out with the evil scheme in mind. Doing stupid things with his partners in crime. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Blackout, that's my alarm clock. You claim you rep Chester Lee, but who's Chester Lee? Not hearing shots, but killings happen next to me. You hate cops around, but you bring them. With guns towed in ways and drug slinging, playing the kingpin, killing your brother over Democrat, PC, and liberal colors, bringing grief to single mothers. Where thugs mingle, they in the line looking for lovers. Bail hearing in the morning, not going to funeral homes cause there's so much mourning. Won't rise early, 1 p.m. you're still snoring, hanging on blocks, mental slaves with rocks in pockets, big guns that shoot rockets. At girls on the bus, if they ban nigga, they banning us. The plan is up, so let's have a truce. All blocks link up, we need a truce. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Liquor sis hold the niggas crack in a crotch. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Liquor you man got 2 hands with blocks. Always red out with the evil scheme in mind. Doing stupid things with his partners in crime. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Blackout, that's my alarm clock. Guns get you 5 to 10 years automatic. There's some good reasons to put down the automatic. Turn a man's bitch in jail, the thuggers get sexed. In the showers on some American History X. I know a bro when it came out like Malcolm X. Stop drug selling and putting guns to people's melons. Who don't hear will feel. Troops wear foreheads when caps peel on the reel. For blocks they don't own, put down the chrome and pistols. This isn't that hip-hop single for you to dance or prance to. Speaking too much truth you can't handle. Back to the point, stop the killing. Read some books, stop playing TV villains. Gaming to get a name and killing your own like Melon and Caveman. Think before you act. When you're going, you might not come back. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Liquor sis hold the niggas crack in a crotch. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Liquor you man got 2 hands with blocks. Always red out with the evil scheme in mind. Doing stupid things with his partners in crime. Blackout, that's my alarm clock a shot. Blackout, that's my alarm clock. Young God, stop trying to impress goddess. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college and got you behind bars sucking on wood and sausage. Compounded in their interests and bonded. Companies got stocks in jail, they call shadow. Governments are weak parties herding their cattle. G.I. Joe said knowing is half the battle. Activation is the half, maces won't reveal. They take oaths of death on the back, they dock your boat, but won't tell you it's a bench. Are you smelling the stench? Got you chasing paper, but you don't get it. Mason badges on cars and sports reserved for reverence. Governments use thugs' heads as leverage, then place peace officers with guns to intimidate, label gangs terrorists. Are you hearing this? That's how they will get you in the vapor chamber with the enemies whose gun jammed as your neighbor. Militarily they will move, but you're not hearing. When they raid you in stealth with no sirens blaring, you're the emergency, why they call the task force. Who don't hear will feel and get what they ask for. Furthermore, I would swear this is the early 90s cause I'm bumping BDP08, they still self-destructing. Blackout, that's my alarm clock to shot. Liquor sis hold the niggas crack in the crotch. Blackout, that's my alarm clock to shot. Liquor you man got two hands with Glocks. Always red eye with an evil scheming mind. Doing stupid things with his partners in crime. Blackout, that's my alarm clock to shot. Blackout, that's my alarm clock.
From the ancestral ground. I'm a gremlin, I'm a ghoul, I'm a monster. Tell me your dark secrets if you want stuff. On a moral incline, I won't haunt ya. I won't spill beans, no I won't say jack. Be in the movement, man, we go way back. This ain't your everyday old school playback. Old enough to know, homie don't play that. But she will, so let's be real. Some just wanna go and come back for a refill. All they wanna do is need $1 million and make $1 million off $1 million, stack it to the ceiling, throw it in a truck. I peel off all leaf, no trash, light it up, invoke all smoke, no gas. And whose blues clue said hope don't last. I'm in the heart of Almaroc, eat Japanese. My appetite's on overdrive. Pass the peas, but pass the please. If you don't mind, I'd rather not opine over spirits that may or may not live inside a bovine that dance around the clotheslines. They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, all written down in stone. They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, in our blood and bones. They'll never leave us, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, all written down in stone. No, they'll never leave us, they will never go. The words of ancestors, in our blood and bones.
Out of stone, blood and bone. Genetically bred for war, embedded deep in my chromosomes. Demons dash in fear, phoenixes raiding our homes. Warfield marshal instills martial law. Muslims chant martial law. Melt blood in my veins. I'm still freeing the minds of those once shackled on their brains. Get the women and children to safety before I board the last train. Town ablaze. Master never got the last laugh. Simple and plain. Now your bingy soul burns bright. As a human being, I'm entitled to my birthright. Oppressors have to perish. Snipers focus your sight like Malcolm in the window. For my people, I stand and fight. Simon Phoenix here. You're signing out. Good night. Going back underground plane is just gonna take flight. High status supreme is what my name reads. Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I'm a Charlie breed. Charlie breed.
They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, all written down in stone. They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, in our blood and bones.
I be the light, bring sight to the door. Lord of Morocco, lightening the torch on the island of the turtle, I declare my nationality. Lord Lucifer, Royal Cal-El, that is apocalypse now. What? The show's over. Play Shakta. I'm in appropriate persona. Moorish American for the record. Born in Atlantis, Amexum, Northwest Gates. You hear me? Ain't no misspake, but a birthright. A day and night. Ali should be studying. Nova's Raleigh, the prophet, but stay in deficit, indefinite. Surface seal, 7 deal, where you store spangled banner while I'll raise the real. Stand on your square, not a spear or a pill, cause you might get tripped out of shape, needing pills for bill. Girls, you can't swim. Flows got gallons from my nation, not a challenge that they can't win. Call me cause I'm all in. Yeah, we falling. Yo.
They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, all written down in stone. They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors, in in our blood and bones. They'll never leave us, they'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. No, they'll never leave us, they will never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones.
Who them a step on from Far East to West, man? Matriarch age, man, out we are conceal the weapon. Hold faith and get strong, them a on streets for the next one. We engrave the masters, them a lock into the next one. Up next for the takeover, angels and the ancestors, and both them and the breaks over. Raise up on the thing local, talk up when you think sober. Put in for the dark days and the sun rays. It's vocal, my point to the vocal.
Bone, lava brimstone. Still they could never get us down. We meant to be around thanks and praises alone. This is a warrior stone, called from ancestral growth. And we will never hold back, it's just an old fact. I and I stay royal to the bone. They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. They will never leave us, no, they'll never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones. They'll never leave us, they'll never go. The words of ancestors all written down in stone. No, they'll never leave us, they will never go. The words of ancestors in our blood and bones. Ancestral. Ancestral. From the ancestral ground. Yeah, yeah, yeah. From the ancestral ground.
So it has right here in the dictionary, black Moor. And it has the part of speech right under it. Next to it says noun. And it says a black person, man or woman, Negro. Then it has in italics, black in small case, plus, then it got Moor capitalized. There's identity right there in the dictionary. It was never really hidden. You tell these people they're Moors, they say, what religion is that? They are so asleep. The sorcerers did a good job. And we're battling sorcerers. Of course, if we come out talking that way from the door, you'd think we're out to lunch. You understand? People, it's sort of like our arrogance, our poisonous and toxic self-righteousness has cursed us for quite a few generations. We got to fix it.
Rapper Inquisition. Iron she conducted, now a secret chief. Flow Lordivic rappers, Mike Sharif. Got producers giving me free beats like Hanif. Cause when I flow, it's deep like a coral reef. Wash up, rapping jellyfish on the beach. Nothing to hide, show my face when I speak. Black power cartels, a black Charles Martels. Hammer their points down, just like colors pastel. I drop it so hard that you need a hard hat. Rappers take off like Sleepy Hollow heads up on tarmac. You be black, but those whose skin is brown got their own convenience stores and temples in your town. Got politicians in their back and front pocket. Use nationality to protest so pigs can't stop it. Sorta like they can't stop the prophet. No, not J. Rue, but the prophet Noble Drew. Most say who when that name is called, but no Abraham, Isaac, Cain, and Paul. They know rappers' real names and the b-ball stats. They know cause names and religious holy cats. Claim they know it all, I see their mentals crazy. When I'm on the mic, rappers begging for the fat lady, begging for Jehovah and Slim Shady, begging for no physical but want mental slavery. Brain dead masses under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses, that's not hearsay. Brain dead masses are under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses, that's not hearsay.
You know the problem that I have with most of these cartoons is that their reality's as real as cartoons on a road trip. Wile E. Coyote's supposed to know this. He can't outroll the road runner in his district. Pistols cocked back on some Wild West flick shit. it. Niggas in the rap game like paid parking tickets. Expiry specific, dietary plans of true greatness omitted. The bottom line ain't shifting unless the gods make that difference. Hook up like nobody's business, but our own with only our interests. Unless the interest of all is sitting on chrome, rolling out of control in big lavish homes. And hey, I ain't hating on the soul. I'm just thinking of a life where everything is whole, organically grown. Emphatically no, when asked do I want to hold for a label, record more and copy my own.
Masses under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses. That's not hearsay. Brain dead masses are under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses. That's not hearsay.
The job of resurrectors is to wake up the dead on this mic in full life. Off with the head of the beast and its puppets. With love we serve justice. The first of the earth, the last to get fucked with. They corrupted, the files being purged back to basics. Withdraw from the matrix, recover what's sacred. No more colorable statuses. Fiction apparatuses, I affirm and declare. Indigenously everywhere. Circle the seven with our own vine and fig. Ensure what a people by the people, there it is. Cleaning up the lies. 5 noble tribes, navigate with the stars. In tune with the tides, more love, more life, more law on our side. For the record, the mission is to know self-perfected, corrected, golden silver back, sword protected from the depths to the heights, the essence. That's right.
Brain dead masses under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses. That's not hearsay. Brain dead masses are under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses. That's not hearsay.
Sometimes it's good to talk, most times it's best to listen. At times it always dull, certain times it just glistens. But the mission and the test and the challenge is to overstand the difficulties of the balance. But when you try to build your palace or your temple, it's decomposing flesh. The more you don't clean the physical, the more you smell like that. Don't seek the spiritual, you're gonna get left. Certain crucial, key, vital, essential steps that have to be taken before you take your last breath. But I guess most of y'all can't be bothered. But I bet millions more will be slaughtered. Our public figures keep on out like martyrs. Too much shotters, we need more fathers to raise the daughters. Lord of mercy, to get to you thirsty, but we still brain dead.
Brain dead masses under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses. That's not hearsay. Brain dead masses are under mind control. Brain dead masses have lost their soul. Listening to rappers get continuous airplay. They mind control the masses. That's not hearsay.
Shane Sparks and Mark Houston types got your daughters kissing their friends like entertainment dykes. LGTB and the rest of the crazies use rap and R&B to force right your babies. Fam, I used to know to sell crack to scabbies. I'm now legit with businesses, not baby daddies. Codes of the street gone, everybody's got beef. Youths beef with their mom's friend's son from across the street. False flagging by the way they dress, more so fagging. Wants thing to move with the horse behind the wagon.
This could be the first something. Might just let me the last. Many more will have to suffer. Many more will have to die. Don't ask me why.